guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about life after high school, specifically talking about college. I do understand that throughout everyone's path, they may not want to go to college, but to me it is still very important. And today I'm going to be talking about the different things that you guys should know when it comes to applying to college, what you should do right now so that you could be successful in your application process, and everything about becoming prepared. So first I'm going to be going in with this witch hazel to start my skincare. And the first thing I want to talk about today is the different requirements when it comes to applying to college. And one of them being that you have to know deadlines. So many different colleges have deadlines, and these deadlines are mostly put into parts called early decision, early action, and then regular decision. Early decision is when you really have interest in a school, so you apply earlier than everyone else. If you do get accepted, it's a binding agreement between you and the college stating that you're going to go to that college no matter what. Early action, on the other hand, is whenever you really have interest in a school, but it's not like early decision where you have to go to that school if you get accepted. One of the perks of going to apply early action is that you get to apply, show your interest to the school, and you get first dibs on like scholarships, because a lot of schools, they only allot a certain amount of money that they could give away that year when it comes to aid and stuff. And if you apply like regular decision, you may miss out on certain monies that you could have received before if you would have applied early action. And then regular decision is whenever you have the regular deadline and you get to just apply whenever everyone else would typically be applying. However, like I said, the one con of doing that is the fact that you do miss out on certain funds and aid and money that you may have been able to get before. However, the one perk of doing regular decision is that you don't have to necessarily apply super early. Say you don't have one of your required essays or letters of recommendation or your FAFSA form turned in yet, you still have some time to get it in because you are applying regular decision. So those are the different deadlines that you may have, and depending on which one you do, there will be a different date that you have to apply by that date. So with every college that you apply to, there's going to be different requirements and things that you have to turn in, such as teacher recommendation, recommendation from your counselor, your transcript, your SAT scores, many different things, essays that you have to know when you need to turn in and what they require of you. And the first one I want to talk about is your teacher recommendation. Your teacher recommendation, you have to pick what teacher you want to write a recommendation for you. And when picking, you want to pick a teacher that actually knows you and your skills, and aside from who you are just in the classroom. Because at the end of the day, most colleges are going to ask to see your transcript, and they are going to know your GPA. So from that, they're going to see what type of effort that you put in the classroom, how much you're mastering the knowledge that you're learning in the classroom. But they also want to know, how are you doing outside of school? What are the different activities that you're involved in? What type of person are you, student? And that's where they look at the recommendations. When picking a teacher to recommend you, of course you want to pick somebody that knows who you are outside of the classroom and who you are aside from just being a student, but also someone that can talk about you positively. You don't want your teacher to write you a recommendation that just paints you in a really bad light. You want somebody that's going to talk about you positively. And even though, of course, they're going to see your transcripts, and then they may just say, oh wow, this student has all A's and B's, and then they have one C, let's say, in English. And however, though you did get a C in English, that doesn't mean that you did not try your hardest, you did not attend tutoring hours, you did not always ask for help on assignments. There is still some way that you can recover from that, and that's through your letter of recommendation. Whenever your teachers write, although this student did not get the the highest grade in this class. They always made effort so that they can make their grades better. And that's really something that colleges want to see, someone that has the ambition and drive to do better. Now, along with a teacher recommendation from your school, most colleges will also want a recommendation from your counselor. My grade at my school for the class of 2020 is very small, so my relationship with my counselor is very close and something that a lot of students don't get to experience with their counselor, because some schools have over 200 students in a grade, and because of that, it's really hard for your counselor to get to know everyone, which is why I say to try to build a relationship with your counselor, because they don't know who you are inside the classroom. Of course, they see your grades and how you're doing, and sometimes you talk to your teachers, but for the most part, they don't get to see who you are day to day. And it's really good that you talk to them and build a relationship with them. You can do this by visiting their office, seeing what type of scholarships that you can get, talking to them just about your achievements, what you're doing over the weekends, talk about certain things like that, so that they know in the back of their mind, whenever they write this recommendation for you, they're like, oh wow, I do remember Vanessa did pageants, or Vanessa did cross country. They could talk about things like that they wouldn't necessarily know about every student, and it makes your recommendation more colorful and interesting. So along with letters of recommendation, colleges a lot of the time do look at your transcripts that have your GPA, the different classes that you went through throughout your 4 years of high school, but also your SAT scores. So say you had a freshman year that you realized could have been a lot better. That does not mean that the next 3 years of your high school life you have to keep doing the same thing. There's always a point where you can change and you can start doing a lot better in school. They want a student that has ambition and dedication, and they want to do better every day. So whether you have a 2.0 now, that doesn't mean that you cannot work towards a 4.0 next quarter or next school year, because you can make that change. Or let's say that you do have that 3.85 GPA. That doesn't mean that next school year, because your GPA is super high, that you can just start slacking off, not doing your homework, not studying for tests, because that will impact your GPA. Your GPA can drop so fast, but it takes so much work for your GPA to actually get higher. So you have to make that conscious effort every day to know, this is my goal. I have a goal of a, let's say, 4.0 GPA, and I'm gonna work towards it. Because if you don't, your GPA will get lower and lower and lower before you know. Now, to talk some about your SAT score, your SAT score, again, will not make or break if you get into a certain school or not. But I do want to say that it's still important, and you still want to try, of course, your best on it. And one way that you can get your SAT score to be a little bit higher is by studying, by getting the SAT book, or even looking for like online courses that you could do, or even seeing if your school offers a course that you guys can take. If you go into College Board right now, let's say you took your PSAT and it was like around 800, they look at your actual scores that you got in every single category, and then they pair it up to a site called Khan Academy, and they give you courses and work to do that's strictly based on the score that you had before, so that you know exactly what you need to improve in. Next thing I want to talk about is FAFSA and money and aid. When it comes to money and aid, it's going to play a huge role in what school you go to and how you're going to, of course, pay for school. And FAFSA is stands for Free Application Federal Student Aid. And it basically looks at the amount that your parents or anybody that's living in your household makes, and like their annual income, and then says, okay, well, they can pay this amount. We are going to offer them this amount of aid and student loans, or it could be grants or anything like that, so that they can help you pay. And then your FAFSA form is going to be sent to the school of your choosing, the schools that you're going to apply to, and then they're going to make their own like aid and money, and they can offer you money sometimes depending on if they still have money. So that's why it's, again, super important to apply early action if you know that you really want to go to a school, because they can offer you more money. So let's say that your school sends you back your financial aid package that they are able to offer you, and then there's still this huge amount of money that you're not able to pay for, your parents are, you're not getting any loans, anything like that. There still are some options for you, because at the end of the day, although money is super important and can dictate like what packages you have, if you live on campus, different things like that, it should not be the reason that you're not able to go to your dream school. There are still ways that you can still go to the school of your dreams without having to pay a huge amount of money that you don't necessarily have. You can do that by applying to scholarships. Now, scholarships, although some do have requirements, a lot of them do not expect you to pay them back. So let's say you get a sports scholarship. They expect you to play that sport while you're in college to represent their college team, but if you end up graduating from that school, they're not expecting you to pay off that money that they were giving you. There are so many scholarships that you can find online. You could simply just look up, let's say your favorite brand. Say your favorite brand is Nike. You look up right now Nike scholarship on the internet. There will be thousands of different scholarships that you can simply apply to. Some of them just ask you for to answer like simple questions, your name, different things like that. Some of them ask you to write essays, some of them ask you to write paragraphs, but at the end of the day, no matter how much money you're getting, you're only getting $400. That $400 would go a long way. So I know I've talked a lot about college and the requirements, but one other thing I want to touch on is, how do I know if a college is for me, and how do I even pick my college? So when specifically looking at what things you should look at when you're choosing colleges that you have interest in, is looking at things like, what interest do I have and I could make into a major. So say I'm into medicine, maybe I want to do their biology course, or maybe I'm into teaching children, so I could go into their education course. Looking at things like that, what interest do I have that translate into a major that the school offers? Because at the end of the day, what you don't want to do is then decide on a school that you're going to go to and then realize that while you're there, they don't offer the major that I'm interested in, and you're not enrolled into classes that you really have interest into, and that can really affect the successfulness that you have in that school, but also how happy that school makes you. So another thing that I want to say when it comes to finding a school of best fit for you is also just looking at, where is the school located? Is this in a place that is really hot and I don't like the heat? Or is this place that it's really far from home and I don't want to be far from my parents? Or how is this school going to help me when finding a job? What type of internships do they offer? Things like that is super important to ask admissions rep. Go onto their website. You could even reach out to different alumni that went to that school. How was their experience? Just so that you can find more information about the school and how that pairs up with who you are as a student, but also as an individual. And the last piece of advice I want to give you all when it comes to preparing for going to college is just to reach out to admissions rep and going to the school, of course. A lot of the time when looking at your application, they look you up in their system. Have you ever interacted with the school before? How have you showed interest in the school before? And a lot of the time when you reach out to these admissions rep, ask them questions, it shows them that I really, as a student, want to come to your school. And whenever they read your application, they're saying, oh wow, this is Vanessa, I remember talking to her, she really was interested into our school. So they know that you're devoted and you actually want to go here, and it makes their decision easier of saying, yes, I want this student at my school. And that is it when it comes to different things that you should do preparing to go to college. When it comes to requirements, deadlines, SAT transcripts, how they play a factor in being accepted into a school, teacher recommendations, counselor recommendations, and then how to pick an actually good college. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to finish up my makeup and then I'm going to show you guys the end product. Well guys, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have taken something away when it comes to preparing for life after high school, as well as the college application process. Please go down below, comment videos that you guys would like to see in the future, like this video, and support me by subscribing.